find an answer. Shining
I
Lance!
smell this knee. I smelled your groin.
He's new.
Give me that leg.
One more
And
time.
one more time. Guess what we get? Oh my God, he's gonna
Sexy
just
time,
down
Loki. Oh, damn.
kick takes it with Lil Majin.
Takes the whole thing
Our
over
champion.
John Ding. Staying on the winner's side, the crowd has erupted. Let's see those pearly whites.
Oh, this is way too exciting. He's working on a perfect.
3 of them. He didn't duck the high. Block that.
Nice.
Interrupt.
And again, he's playing soft
He threw him.
combat.
He broke it. JDCR.
Oh, he gets it. One more hit can do it.
Oh my
The block.
God.
And Harris, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Can I get a break? Any chance?
I know we wanted to take a break later, but man.
Staff, any chance we could get a gurney?
Hello everyone, this is Daze, and what a tournament this year. This year's Evo was a doozy, and I gotta say, Lil Majin was definitely the most entertaining player to watch. His dynamic playstyle and his good utilization of King's moves was truly impressive and inspiring, beating John Ding, Noroma, Pekos, and even JDCR. Very exciting matches. Though Majin got burnt out by the time he reached his match with Kudans, it was very good showing by Majin, and I honestly believe that Majin could have taken the whole tournament had he kept his dynamic playstyle going. But Kudans and Low-High recognized Majin's linear choke points and exhaustion and capitalized on that. People just need to stop the linear thinking and be more dynamic in their gameplay and thought process and not obsess over being super safe, and they'll surely see more results out of that. And specifically being super safe is usually the downfall of even the greatest players. Players like Nee, for example, which is part of the reason as to why he lost against Book in Thailand. Nee just refused to go for the house sweep after it got blocked by Book a couple of times, and he just didn't do it again because it was too risky. He did not want to get launch punished again, but he should have taken the risk again. But I digress. It was a pain to see Kudans make so many mistakes in his last match. The nerves seem to have hit pretty hard at the end there. And Low-High is no slouch and won't forgive too many mistakes. He's also good at recognizing patterns when shown by his opponents, which Kudans very clearly had. His mid-mid into low and low-low into mid mix-ups were fairly readable, and Low-High saw that very clearly. I had hoped for a more competitive grand final. But regardless, good job to all players, and congratulations to Low-High. Now let's move on to the Season 2 trailer and see what we got from that. I'll start with the second part of the Season 2 trailer, which is the character revelations. Now this was the consensus in my group of friends as we saw the live reveal, and I'm sure that many will agree that the decision to include Negan from the Walking Dead series was purely a PR/marketing move to further increase the sales of Tekken 7 by bringing a huge amount of new players from a huge community like the Walking Dead's fanbase to the Tekken scene. Similar to what they did with Noctis and how they got Final Fantasy players to buy Tekken 7. Not to mention that the Walking Dead's viewership has dumbed down recently, and this is also an opportunity for the Walking Dead to get new people into their series from the Tekken community aside from their already existing fans. Or what's left of their fans. It's clear they paid a good sum to the Tekken team as well, so it's a two-way deal. Now this is good and bad at the same time, and allow me to explain why. It's good in the sense where the fan base of Tekken will grow and get bigger, bringing new players, expanding the Tekken community beyond the FGC parameters. The investors will be pleased with the numbers and will even be more inclined to invest more in Tekken in later projects, and the Tekken team will have the means to give us more content in the future. On the other hand, it's bad in the sense that most of the FGC, and particularly the Tekken community, don't really give a rat's ass about The Walking Dead. And most of us wanted a more martial arts related character like Kazuma Kiryu. So it's disappointing in a sense, as Kiryu would have made more sense as the new addition to Tekken's roster of guest characters. It seems apparent that Harada has the misconception that the West is not interested in Kiryu and the Yakuza games as a whole, which couldn't be any further from the truth. On top of that, the producer of Yakuza, Daisuke Sato, made it very clear that Harada is free to use Kiryu in Tekken, and it's up to Harada whether he wants to make the collaboration. So business-wise, it is a good move. but not such an encouraging one for Tekken fans, and for good reason. But on the bright side, here's what Harada is listening. Legacy characters. This is where the Tekken team is giving the Tekken community what they want by introducing Anna and Lei back to the roster. Anna looks super cool and appropriately very Anna-like to say the least, as she's represented as the eternal rival of her sister Nina. What seems new about her look is that tattoo on her chest, which suggests that she has some affiliation with Eliza, I guess. I was never really an Anna player, but I'm definitely going to get my hands on her this time around. The gameplay they've shown of her looked pretty fun, and she seems more interesting in Tekken, as every character in Tekken 7. Tekken 7 is a very solid and fun game to play, so whatever character to play will be somewhat fun. As for Lei though, it seems like the Tekken team is working on something very special and unique here. Lei changed aesthetically, and I'm not sure if that's going in his favor. He definitely seems older now, and almost completely different in terms of his face. But he's still got the Lei vibe in him, that's for sure. Most notably, his 5 stances are back, and with each stance comes a different rage drive. One that directly screws, one that launches up high, one that throws the opponent far away, one that spikes and launches, and one that wall splats, making him to be the only character to have 5 different rage drives. I can't believe they actually did that. He's going to spice up the so-called Tearless like no other character, that's for sure. And to top it all off, they also gave him what seemed to be a homing power crush that also screws, similar to Hwoarang's backlash. No wonder everyone lost their mind when they saw him. No doubt I'm going to main him when he comes out, as every Tekken veteran might as well. And finally, let's go over the new moves they added for some characters, and the new wall bounce mechanic which they took off of Geese's back 2. As you know, the wall bounce mechanic already exists within Tekken, but only for Geese and only for Geese's back 2 move, so the mechanic is move specific. So Claudio gets a new follow-up from his back 4 to possibly help with his wall splat game. They also show one of his wall bounce moves, as they do for a few characters in this trailer, but I'm pretty sure that all characters will get new wall bounce moves. Gigas gets a wall standing 4-2 punish, which is a 13 framer, and it knocks down, giving him good Oki pressure. Lars can now get into his silent entry stance from wall standing 2. A very interesting addition. Definitely will have to be wary of Lars when doing wall standing 2 from now on. Eliza can now use her super after her DP, making her DP extra dangerous, as it is now a 10 frame launcher with full super. Something she didn't share with Geese and Akuma, but she does now. Heihachi can now enter his stance after his punch parry, which makes his parry a powerful launcher. That's a pretty big buff, if you ask me. High level Heihachi play will definitely be looking quite different after that change. JDCR might be pulling out the Heihachi a little more often now. I might even finally pick him up as a result. He's the only Mishima that I've yet to pick up. Bob has been given a low mix-up from his stance. Great addition for Bob, as players never really were afraid to duck against his stance. I forgot what the stance was called. Meatball stance? I doubt it. And finally, it seems like the Tekken team noticed how underused was Steve's Rage Drive. And now he has a Sonic Fang Rage Drive, which acts as a launcher. Not sure if this means that his old Rage Drive is off the table, but regardless. Steve is even more dangerous now with a 13 frame mid-hitting standing launcher. And to think that this is possibly a safe Rage Drive, which isn't confirmed yet, but Steve is now a complete, fully fledged tournament character. And with regards to the new wall bounce mechanic, which they took off of Geese's back 2 as I mentioned earlier, it looks like they want to give all characters their own wall bounce moves, which will surely change the wall pressure metagame and will give players more of a reason to use underused moves that now have more purpose. Thanks to this mechanic, there are now relatively new combos to explore on the wall only, and only on the wall or near the wall, as the wall bounce mechanic does not work in the middle or at the end of a combo as tested by Scalawag93 using Geese. I'll link his video in the description where he goes more in depth into it. It's worth a watch. It's so refreshing to see a new mechanic implementation extending the game's lifespan and switching up the metagame. Great way to start Season 2 really. I only hope that they won't make us wait too long for the release of the update and the legacy characters. I tried looking for leaks, absolutely nothing about the release date. And speaking of legacy characters, I'm sure most of us remember that Harada once said that he would never make us pay for legacy characters. Some of us are having doubts that he's going to lock legacy characters behind the Season 2 pass. It's not yet clear if we'll have to pay for them, but it's likely that they will be free as part of the Season 2 update in the same way that the wall bounce mechanic is free and included in the update. But that's just my guess based on what Harada said in previous interviews. We might end up paying for them, which I gladly would, to be honest, and I bet most of us would as well. The legacy characters are being given new moves and such, which cost time and effort to test and balance into the game and make sure they don't break the game. But paying for them will contradict with Harada's promise, and people will surely remember that. We already got a guest character that the FGC in general barely cares about, especially the Tekken community. It would be in Harada's interest to hand over the legacy characters for free as promised, and instead lock aesthetics and costumes and obviously Negan behind the Season 2 pass. But we'll see what happens in the near future. Other than that, Harada said after the reveal and as shown in the trailer that there are still 3 more characters to come. And as a June player myself, I would be absolutely thrilled to have her back. Besides June, Julia Chang makes the most sense to come directly after Anna and Lei, and she's definitely the most requested character right behind them. Armor King is very unlikely to come back as King already has some of Armor King's moves implemented in his moveset. My guess for the last character slot would be Wang, Ganryu, or Bake. Probably not Marduk. And I'd be willing to bet that Wang will be making a comeback out of these 3 or 4, with Ganryu as a runner-up, and possibly Marduk as the second runner-up. Though personally, all I want back is June, as she was my main before I picked up Kazuya in Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and you guys have yourselves a good one.